What's up, everyone? CountBlagorath here with an album review, this time the 2012 self-release of whatever that is up there by Skinfather. Obviously, that's not the title of it. I just don't know how to say properly the symbols or whatever dialect that happens to be. Pardon my ignorance. No offense intended towards the artist. So before I get started, this will be not necessarily a double review, but this album will also be reviewed by a very good friend of mine here on YouTube by the name of JGC Sound. Some of you have heard of him, some of you haven't. If you are not familiar with him, definitely go subscribe to his channel if you like anything that is dark, heavy, and absolutely destructive. That's all he reviews, is some of the sickest stuff on the planet. He's a great reviewer, great guy. Definitely check him out. This is my first encounter with Skinfather, and this is actually their only release, which is a 5-track demo, so to speak. I would consider this to be an EP, showcasing their extremely intense style of crossover thrash. I am not a thrash metal guy by any means, let me put that out there, but you don't have to be a thrash metal fan to truly appreciate what Skinfather does. What I like about this music is it's very much based in the hardcore side of thrash metal, at least to me it sounds that way. It's based out of good hardcore, and I don't mean terror, I don't mean this awful trash that people listen to. I'm referring to the very intense, almost power violence sort of stuff, such as Weekend Nachos and Spaz. I really, really love the sound of this record. The coolest thing about Skinfather to me is the blend of hardcore and thrash metal. It has some of those very headbangable thrash beats, and it's got the intense moments of thrash, but it also has the same elements taken from hardcore. So it's not like they just kind of based one thing solely. Like, the fast parts are going to be based in thrash, the slower parts are going to be based out of hardcore, like a lot of crossover bands do. It's done very well, and it's done in a way so it's extremely varied and very interesting to listen to. I'm really loving the riffs, and I really like the mix on this. The mix is something that's very odd, and I'm going to talk about that. The guitar has a very thin sound, actually. It's not an extremely fat sound. It's not very massive sounding. It, quite frankly, doesn't really sound that metal. It's kind of what I expect from a hardcore, grindcore album in the underground. This is a very strange tone for what some people would consider to be crossover. With that said, it works very well because of the bass. The bass is extremely thick, extremely loud, and just very driving. It's probably one of the coolest features of this band is their use of bass and how it's so prominent in the mix. And that really just drives the songs, as I said, and it just brings this whole new level of intensity that you don't really find nowadays. What's really also very cool about this is the riffs are extremely catchy. Like the first song, Christ Disease, has some of the catchiest riffs I've heard this year. And I'm not just saying that, especially the ending. I am in love with the ending of that song. And it's just a very solid flow. And the riffs add to the flow. There's nothing that feels interrupted. There's nothing that feels like it was cut off or forced. And that's very important for me. Nothing sounds forced, nothing sounds artificial. This is very good. The drums, same way. Less is more. There's not a hell of a lot of variation when it comes to the drums on this album, but what the drums provide is a backbone and something that just really showcases not only the intensity of the band, but it really helps bring forth that driving feeling that the bass gives, and it kind of feeds off that, and that is something I love. Almost reminds me of early Graves, oddly enough, and that's something that just came to my head. So if you're a fan of early Graves, definitely look into these guys. Vocally, some of the more original vocals I've heard this year. I don't listen to a lot of hardcore or whatever, but I would consider these to be more of a almost a Converge style vocal mixed with Weekend Nachos, but more in the throat, just a very throaty, raspy shout, but it's not annoying like I find in a lot of hardcore. And that's something that is just great to hear because I'm so sick of generic thrash vocals and generic hardcore vocals and those terrible crossover vocalists that try to do both. This is something that's very unique, very original, and very intense. Vocally and lyrically, this is an intense listen. This is something that will really dig deep into you, and I love the catchiness of some of the lyrics. And you'll find yourself sitting there and just kind of singing along with it after a few listens. It's a very addictive listen, and I love that. This is an album that has a lot of replayability to it, and it's definitely got a wow factor to it. This is a solid debut from these guys, and I cannot wait to hear more from them. Link will be to their Bandcamp down below, also their Big Cartel and Facebook page. Definitely support these guys. I'm probably going to buy a shirt from them because they are so sick. You have no reason not to check this out because it is free to stream and to download. So, as soon as when this is over, check it out and then tell me in the comments what you think of it. Great stuff. Also look forward to, once again, JGC Sounds review. I'm going to give this demo a very solid 8 out of 10. Great stuff. Keep an eye out for Skinfather. And that's all I got to say. Solid 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, keep it metal.